Hello, divergent and typical people with past, current, or no addictions of any kind. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my minor autism symptoms. So let's begin. The first one I'm going to cover is academic performance and aptitude for arts. I was always an excellent student at school and at university. Except for that, I was drawing since I was a kid. So when I was 6 years old, I started going to drawing lessons. Then at 7, I started playing the piano and I started singing in the city choir. I played the piano for 4 years and I sang in the city choir for 4 years as well, and then for another 2 years in high school. I still love to sing to this day and I sing to myself all the time. I actually used to want to be a singer a couple of years ago. With painting, I was painting until the beginning of high school and stopped for a while, but I have started doing it again recently. I was also good in math, both in school and university. Thus, I went for a bachelor's in informatics. However, I ended up not working in the field because I didn't really like it. However, this is a topic for another video. But for now, I can share that the reason behind this is that I'm more of an artsy person instead of a more technical or engineering oriented. Next on the list are my sport skills, which for the most part are non existent. In school, I sucked at every sport: dodgeball, football, basketball, volleyball, any kind of ball sports, or any kind of team sports, to be honest. Probably the only one I was somewhat good at, because I liked hitting with the bat, was softball, which we played for very little just in 8th grade. I remember I did actually a couple of home runs. Yeah, I was good with the bat. As for the other sports, my dad, who is very good in a lot of sports, tried to teach me when I was a kid, but to no avail. However, my parents took me skiing when I was 5, and since then I just loved it and I go skiing till this day whenever I have the chance. Thus, winter is one of my favorite seasons, and I love the snow as well. I learned how to ski pretty quickly, and to be honest, I just enjoy the adrenaline rush from sloping fast. Skiing is also the only sport I actually enjoy watching. Other than that, even though this is not very related to sports, I am very clumsy with using tools and instruments, and my girlfriend, who has an aptitude for that, jokes with me all the time that I am very girly because I cannot fix anything at home. Next one is one of my favorite skills from the autistic arsenal, and this is remembering strings of information. Some autistic people even go to savant levels in this category. Well, I'm not one of them, but I just had to mention it. Phone numbers, paintings, poems, musical pieces, directions, documentaries, movies, all kinds of useful and useless information I can remember and gobble it up and then spit it out whenever I need to. And God, how much I love this ability. Well, the uneven skill distribution is very obvious from what I described so far, but let me add a few more examples. Even though I'm very good at orienting myself by foot, I struggle a lot with taking public transport. I struggled as a kid, and it still creates a lot of anxiety for me. I also struggle with asking for help or asking for direction, as I dread the social interaction I have to go through in order to get that information. So, because I avoid the social interaction which is involved in asking for directions or using the public transport, I kind of feel blocked and I'm lost whenever I'm in a new area, and it takes me a while until I get used to it. However, over time, I have managed to overcome a bit of this fear. So now, even though it makes me anxious, I'm more willing to go and ask people if I need help. Another thing which stems from the uneven skill distribution is acquiring a new skill in a job. This makes me very anxious in new workplaces. And also, when you add on top of it the social interaction needed to get to know the new colleagues. One of the main reasons I think that autistic people find it hard to get a job. Even so, after I get the hang of the tasks that I have to do, I start doing them much more easily than other people in a very short amount of time. Next symptom is weird eating habits. However, I already mentioned it in a previous video, so I'm just gonna describe it here very shortly. I dislike wet food and different kinds of food touching each other. It just disgusts me. That's it. Stomach issues is the next one I'm going to go over. I used to struggle with this my whole life. I used to get diarrhea all the time. I didn't know that there are certain foods that I have to avoid because I'm autistic. And for the most part of my life, I didn't really know that I'm autistic. This includes fried food, some dairy, a few spices, white bread, and gluten and sugar in general. I would also add some sour fruit and spicy food, even though I kind of like spicy food. But as I said, I managed to fix my stomach issues, and I'm going to share that information with you guys in future videos. Last minor symptom I want to cover is masking. God, I wish I knew I was autistic much earlier in my life. It would have saved me so much trouble. It would have saved me from developing addictions and acquiring so many bad habits in my earlier years and over the course of my life. Most of my masking I did with the help of alcohol, the best and the worst social lubricant of all times. It would make uncomfortable or unbearable situations tolerable enough for me not to have a meltdown. But except from preventing meltdowns, it was also making me severely depressed because I wasn't showing my true self to anybody. I was so miserable not to be myself most of the time. I had to pretend and pretend and pretend. And when it was all over and I gave up all drugs and alcohol, I had almost forgotten who I really was. Masking is simply the worst thing an autistic person can do to themselves. So, you have reached the end of this video. I hope you guys stayed with me and I hope you enjoyed what I have to say. I hope to see you next time, and until then, peace be with you.